Okay, so we're going to start the presentation, CryptoKit. So you can begin.
Thank you, ATypI. We are 3 people who will present you the project. I'm Anthony Masure, I'm the Dean of Research of HES-SO Genève. Okay, for a picture. Thank you. Then Océane, she's a graphic and type designer and alumni from ANRT Nancy. And Guillaume Helleu is associate researcher at HES-SO Genève and co-founder of Hinterland. We are very happy today to present you the CryptoKit project, was funded by HES-SO Genève. And the goal of this project was to represent blockchain technology. If you look into blockchain on Google Images, you will find that kind of pictures who are very, with a lot of stereotypes. It's already the same kind of shapes with the blue color of the technology. So you will basically learn nothing about blockchain. If you ask about blockchain functioning, you will find some diagrams, but most of them are not well done and sometimes false also. And you are not able to do your own. So you will be stuck into 3 main issues. First, there is no consistent data set. There is no kind of set of pictograms who are very complete. Many key terms of blockchain have no shapes. Then there are a lot of physical metaphors. For example, the cloud with a cloud, which is basically a computer. So the consequence is that there is a lack of technical and digital culture. It's always already composed diagrams, so you cannot do your own. We were stuck into that kind of issues with Guillaume 5 years ago when we were doing at the time some lectures, for example, here at the Gaîté Lyrique, or on research papers like for Multitude and Guillaume. So we have to do our own diagrams because we are not able to find good ones online. Here are other examples. So the goal of the CryptoKit project, some years after these examples, was to explain in a didactic way how blockchain actually works, to produce free educational material for schools and companies, and to establish a visual method of analysis and visual that can be applied to other fields. And because we are not graphic designers with Guillaume, we needed a true professional, and that's why we asked Océane Juvin to help us, because we very appreciated his our work of the quant-type, physics quantique. And for the method, we didn't want to do a glossary because you can find a lot of online. And the first step was to establish a corpus, a list of keywords, that we compose, display on semantic layers, but Guillaume will explain this just later. Océane.
So, hi, I'm Océane Juvin, and I graduated type design in Paris in Estienne School in 2016, and quickly after my diploma, I started as a graphic and type designer, specializing myself in visual didactics. And so it means that I use graphic means to make accessible complex subjects in a playful way. And so it can be a piece of literature, gardening, or philosophy, or activities of a scientific laboratory. And I especially do this through the creation of pictographic tools that visualize systems, tell stories, explain phenomena, popularize concepts. And so you have some signs here, but you can see more on my website, on the portfolio that is on the slide. So as part of this practice, I developed a research project on quantum mechanics in collaboration with the physicist Julien Bobroff from CNRS between 2019 and 2021 in ANRT in Nancy, so National Workshop of Typographic Research. And so the aim of this project was to create a graphical language that can accompany a discourse of popularization of quantum physics And it leads to the creation of a font family, CANType in French, containing extended Latin alphabet and a set of symbols that represent quantum elements. Thus, you can see on the right, it was on the left, at the beginning of the project, but the pictorial signs are integrated into the popularization discourse to facilitate the understanding of the concept that can be difficult to grasp. So I invite you to go on the website that is still on the slide to have more information about this project. So that's how I met Anthony Masure to create CryptoKit.otf in the beginning of 2022 to build a typographic system to explain blockchain technologies. So here you have the pictograms in positive. So at the beginning of the project, the plan was to draw 80 pictograms and result in a font constituted of 160 symbols that represent necessary elements to explain blockchain technologies. You can see them at the top, plus 160 connectors or indicators, for most of them already existing in the font, but modified to fit the new system. So there are circuit figures, different kind of arrows, operators, and especially block drawing characters that are already used in ASCII art. So I will speak a bit about how the typeface was made. So first, it was chosen to use and to match with IBM Plex font family designed by Mike Hubbing. The goal was to be able to typeset sets and captions and easily compose schemas as ASCII art. Why IBM Plex? Because it already spans over 100 languages from Arabic to Zulu, with more to come like Chinese. It has a large family of styles that can be used to compose whole documents. It has a monospace family on which we can base to fit in a grid. And they also have wide glyph sets. And also it's comfortable at screen, and of course we like its mechanical aesthetics. So first, to fit its family, it was necessary to adapt the spacing and the width of characters so that pictograms have more room horizontally and can almost keep letters legibility at the same size. So IBM Plex space is 600 M and CryptoKit is a double, so 1200 M. Then I adapted the stroke thickness so that it looks similar than letters, and tried to play in the same way with shapes of angle and curves, as you can see on this GIF. So now, important question is, how did I make to understand and represent this technology made of informatic systems, economic and cryptographic concept from my light knowledge in the field? Hopefully, Anthony and Guillaume had already worked on a semantic map on Miro platform. You can see some screenshots during the project of it. And it was really practical to grasp many ideas and relationships between the different elements I had to represent. And moreover, we could work together on it, enriching it with graphic advancement and interact on it. So the map structure leads me to build one main graphic logic of CryptoKit. On the map, you could see that each concept can be understood from its parents. So to express a complex element, I decided to ensemble simple elements, signs, cut in half, either vertically or horizontally, as you can see on the GIF. So for example, web and distributed system give decentralized app. And like here you have a lot of examples with decentralization signs that appeared a lot. I also had to add my own reading grid in order to graphically translate it. So this is only my way of organizing the elements because there were various and most of them really abstract. So I had to categorize them, but only to understand better. So here you have 13 categories, and some of these elements were not drawn on the first list that Guillaume and Anthony gave me, but they were hidden behind some concepts, and it was discovered that it was important to represent them, to explain blockchain technologies, like for example hardwares that you can see on the top. And also this categorization helped me to find some simple graphic means to differentiate elements between them so that they are easier to read and understand. For example, here you can see that digital asset on the bottom. I use only different style of outline stroke so that we can differentiate the different kind of objects that circulate on the blockchain, NFT, cryptocurrency, or money. Or also you can see, for example, the blockchain's block. I used square angles to differentiate it to the other square shapes that I use in the typeface. So Anthony already mentioned that there were kind of metaphors that were I don't know.
Not good.
Yeah, not good. We can see and for me it was really important to do explicit pictograms. So I had to deconstruct some pictures that you can see on the top, for example here. Indeed, during my understanding of blockchain, I came across many pictures that were only illustrating the names. And for a novice, it's quite hard to decode. For example, the word means, the second one from the left, means the creation of an NFT. No, a token or NFT? I don't know. Some digital assets. And but so there is nothing to do with aromatic plants, and they drew some mint on it, and you can see the same minting, mining the blocks. They use the mining tool, but it means to add a block to the blockchain, and I try to describe it on the pictograms. And you see on the right also the cloud that Anthony mentioned also previously. And also one funny stuff is the oracle. Actually, this is a company logo that produce a kind of device that links different entity. That's it. And on Google Image, you can see a lot of this kind of cylinders. They even put shadows on it as if it was a really object. And actually, this is not. It's a logo. And I had to distinguish this. Then the human character was the first one to be drawn. And for me, they give the tone. It was really important to draw them. They are also the most difficult to draw. It was important that there is several versions for inclusivity. And I wanted them to have a body to differentiate them for the profile, from the profiles that you can have in digital environments. And also one important thing was that because the typeface is not a system that works on an orthogonal grid, but more line grid with line spacing for the legibility, the sign for the first typeface supposed to work inside text were aligned according to baseline and they could overflow from their spacing to avoid blanks, especially vertically. I don't know if you see, I put it in green, the space with overlaps. And so I designed a second version for the website and the interface that Guillaume will show you, where each sign fits in a square box so that people can compose either in a block of text or glyphs by glyph by glyphs in a squared grid.
Great. So a typeface for what? For who? This is the question. So first, Anthony explained it already. It was mainly academic use, and the first example of the typeface was to sum up into a mind map. The original idea was to explain the full blockchain protocol with this typeface, and it was obviously a fail, as we did not explain the blockchain with the typeface. What we explained is a lexical map. And for us, it was much more interesting, said how we can link this pictogram together, not to express a function, but to express a lexic and a cloud naming. For that, how does it work? If we take the pictogram blockchain, mainly we are not going to associate with clouding, hardware, and a block, which was the functioning of the blockchain, but we are going to link them with the free word that describe them. So basically, this is a definition that you can find on the dictionary. So blockchain is a protocol that set up a ledger on a distributed system. So we didn't explain in the functioning way, but only in the lexical way. And then we create like a layer on top of it to say, okay, ledger, what a ledger doesn't mean, what will be the word that I will find in this definition in the dictionary. It's a data register that is in incrementation all the time about fiat currency, so euro, dollar, whatever. And the same with distributed system, which is about interrelation system, which is about internet, etc., etc. So this is a method that we set up to organize all these pictograms all together that been summed up. So we're speaking around like 200 pictograms all together in the map, a very huge map that have been materialized through a F4 poster that we can see here, designed with our friend Élise and Kévin Donnot. And you can find it maybe online later on the HED website. Secondly, we said, okay, now we have a map that connecting lexically all this world. Now we need to explain. So going back to the function and to explain them through a narrative. We didn't want, blockchain technology is very hard to explain, extremely complex topic, and we wanted to explain them through a narrative way. And for that, we break down this diagram again. So it's a bit the same one, but now we did like color clouding to say, okay, this is about Bitcoin, this is about Web3, this is about internet, and then this is how we build all the narration. And this narration has been printed to the booklet, a small booklet of 50 pages that explain and sum up all the pictogram. So the game was to use each pictogram and to explain them functionally into this narrative. In terms of graphic, we just line up everything, so we don't have any empty space in the full booklet to represent this idea of blockchain that everything is linked together. So from the chapter to the bottom, we have no spacing in the full printing. And finally, the most important element was the diagram that we investigate in the early age with Anthony 5 years ago. And now I was able to doing like proper diagram. I'm not like a graphic designer, so my graphics was a bit lame. But now I was able to do something much more strict and much more pleasing by eyes. And by this idea, we close the circle to come from narrative to go to function again. So, for example, you have example of how we can explain like a diagram of the ICO, initial coin offering, and on the top, how we can resum up like the Web3 Art Basel element. And this diagram is mainly used into like a classes and lecture that we do, Anthony and I, mainly in HES-SO at Geneva. And we also use them to cut down like a narrative. So we explain the function, so the user will send Ether to the decentralized app, and we break it down to make it very easier for like a student to understand very complex theme. Also different lecture classes. This is like in a GIF festival last year with Anthony. So the project was not already online, but we already tried to play with them, to test them in the real situation. And important fact, all the project is on like open source, at least. Most of the time CC0 if we can, not for the typeface, which is in the seal OFL. The reason of that is, of course, the political background behind like the cryptosphere, which is like anarchist and very like pro-librist environment. And for us, for Anthony, it was very important to give it back everything completely free and to let people play whatever they want with a file without having the need to naming us. This, for example, the correction, we can see it that we give them that in CC0 on a non-project, very public and well-known website for this. And as you can see, we have this kind of error 404, so denied access, because in this situation, we have to respect the rule set by the non-project, and every pictogram that have like character, later, or whatever, have been denied. So if you find a way to express Bitcoin without using the B, let us know. We would be interested. That's why we gather everything on the CryptoKit.com.ch, sorry, that we are going to present you if it's working. It's working, great. So designed by Élise, Kévin, Donnot, same. So as you can see, we have a map, and we play with this spherical element, and we have the book. So the booklet, which is in open source booklet, you can find it completely online. And every time you click on one element, it will directly constrain on the element of the app that's based on it, and then you can go up and see what it's about script, and then when you click on script, it goes back to the element on the page. So we have like kind of adequation between the lexical map and the narrative map. So we have this kind of two maps dialoguing together. On the site, of course, you will find like all the specimen element completely ordered that you can directly copy paste. What we display is the typeface, is not SVG. All the elements that we already present to you, and most important is this schema maker. So it's an element because it's in a pedagogical ID to build your own diagram. So you drag and drop, you have all the connector, and you can set it up like this. I will do a quick diagram about I don't know what. And then you can hide the grid or not, you can reset it, and you can download it instantly to PNG. If I try, it should be work. I hope, otherwise it will be shame. It's working. So we can download automatically the diagram, and this is a help for like teacher or whatever they want to build. You can download the website, the font, everything we did. We give everything for free. And finally, the print, the link for the map, so this A4 huge poster, and the booklet on a web-to-print element that you will find on Lelu. And element, and I think we just sum up quickly the element. It's 28, right on time. I have to go back. So here you can see like a screenshot of the element. So yes, this is kind of a diagram that you can see. You can see like tiny difference between the one that we compose offline, but it's very, very similar. And right on time for your question.
Yeah, so thank you very much for the presentation of this type. So if anyone wants to ask a question, feel free. I will just hand you the mic.
Thank you very much for the presentation. Seems to be a very strong toolkit. I have one question for the typeface choice. The choice to pair it with IBM Plex was a license question or a formal question?
Both.
Yeah.
Because of course, if we wanted to go do a project to release like in seal license, we needed some typeface that could allow that. And but also like IBM Plex, it was really because we could use like for every languages also, or not every languages of course, but most of them, and because they are waiting for Chinese, and it was really important like from the beginning of the project to include most of the languages. And when we looked also, like IBM Plex was redrawn, like I think it's IA Draw, another typeface that just they redraw IBM Plex in a different way. And for example, this one could work, but they had no. I show you like the box drawing characters. And IBM Plex was one of the only one to have this like in open source license. But the shapes of the letter were also like some. Don't know. Yeah, we liked the shapes.
Yes.
Yeah, basically, we was already using the font in our side, and we didn't want to change everything. Actually, it's one of the
and last vision was the very deep history of IBM
Yes.
about tech.
Yes.
So it's another vision.
Thank you.
Just a small hint, I wanted just to warn you that the designer of IBM Plex is attending the conference.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Where is it?
It's Paul van der Laan from Bold Monday is here.
Thanks for that interesting presentation. I was wondering, do you plan to apply that to other complex
Yes.
explanation projects? Because it looks just like a star, like a system. You could explain the world with
Yes.
it, probably.
If I'm able to find another funding in Switzerland, yes, we will do the same kind of method for AI. There is a huge need of that kind of material, and Océane already worked on it in other contexts. But yes, the same kind of method should be applied for these kind of technologies.
And yeah.
Sorry, just the set is not like a defined set. We still work with Océane because we use it for a professional way, and we have some specific need because some pictures are missing. We understand some appear, and we need to increase and to update the font all the time. So the font will be, of course, increase in the field of the Web3 and blockchain technology. And we, as Anthony said, we try to investigate like AI and to interconnect because everything is interconnected at the end.
And as I told you, like me in my design practice, but without like all the the interface making and the specific work that Anthony and Guillaume made also for explaining blockchain, I try to apply it to different contexts. I told you about philosophy or activities for laboratories, and I try to enlarge it and to try to contact laboratories to do this. And for example, I plan to try to apply this to explain a complex system of ecosystem for flower sexualities. So another field.
It seems that motion design or animated pictograms is also the next step, maybe for those kind of projects.
Yes, maybe for the next version, but it always took us 2 years to do this. So yes, thanks.
It's supposed to be 6 months.
And we are very happy that ATypI was delayed in order to finish this project.
Okay, so if there is no other question, this is the end of CryptoKit. Thank you very much.